and from Pembrokeshire. Toby Ellis speaking here on the daytime show, and I've got the privilege of having the new chief executive of the Port of Milford Haven with us here this afternoon. Tom Sawyer, afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me, Toby.
Absolute pleasure. Welcome to Pure West Radio.
First time.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the last.
No, I don't think it will be. Well, welcome back to Pembrokeshire again. I mean, your family have lived and worked here for many a year.
Yeah, I fell in love with a Pembroke girl 32 years ago. We got married in Dew Street, just up the way from here,
wow.
where we're sat now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really is a coming home for me. I think of our two sons and my wife. We holidayed here probably every year over the last 32 years, 2-3 times every year. Newgale, Aberystwyth, south of the county as well, in terms of the Boshiston pools. Really, really happy memories of raising our family here, seeing the family.
Fantastic.
And I think all of our special times are rooted in Pembrokeshire. So great to be here and work.
Yeah, I mean, needless to say, you know the area very well.
I think it's different, isn't it? I know it as a tourist. I'm now getting to know it as a resident of the county. I'm less familiar with Milford Haven and Pembroke Dock in terms of the two sides of the waterway that we are the custodians of. But loving getting to know new parts of the county. I think I'm really looking forward to getting south of the county in particular. There are whole swathes down there that I've visited infrequently and really looking forward to getting to know better.
We heard about your appointment back in January. It was now actually. The information came out that you'd be sort of taken to post end of April. So it's been a couple of weeks now. How's it all going?
Yeah, day 17 in the seat. I was really lucky. My predecessor, we had Andy Jones. We had a really, really productive 2-week handover. So I guess unlike many chief executives who either don't get a handover or have a very short one, we had one that was very much integrated in terms of what we were both trying to achieve in terms of Andy's legacy and what a great legacy it has been, and in terms of making sure we have that stability of transition as well in the business.
I mean, the Port of Milford Haven, you already touched on, it's responsible for a huge amount here in Pembrokeshire. I mean, the UK's biggest energy port lies within it.
Yeah, the UK's biggest energy port. We should remember, Milford Haven Port Authority is Milford Haven, the waterway, and on the south side also Pembroke Dock, a really, really important part of what we do. It's a multifaceted business. At its core is the Port Authority. So we move ships. That's what we do. We bring the lifeblood of a significant portion of the energy sector of the UK to the shores. We are the physical gateway to the United Kingdom. We are the psychological gateway to the United Kingdom, particularly in terms of current and future energy security. So that sits centrally to what we seek to do each and every day with our pilots, our boat crews, our workers up in the port control, doing all that they can in all weathers, day and night, to ensure that the highest level of safe services are provided to mariners who want to move up and down the waterway. We then link that to the port services activity, which is really centralised around the Pembroke Dock facility. So that is all of the services on the shore side that we seek to provide to mariners and ships as they come in. Principally, people will be very familiar with the Irish Ferry as it ploughs its way up and down the Haven every single day. That's a really important part of the service we provide in terms of that linkage to Ireland. And then on the north side, of course, we have the hospitality and tourism hub, which centres around the Marina, where there's some really exciting things going on right now, which I know you at Pure West Radio have covered quite recently.
Yeah, some very exciting developments. We'll touch on that in a moment. I mean, all you need to do is be down the Marina, or maybe be on the other side of things, maybe down by the Jolly Sailor, for example, and you can see how busy and active that waterway is. I mean, there's constant traffic.
Yeah, so I think I have the best office view in the world.
I think I may have seen it. It is beautiful. I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to be good friends with the harbour master, and I mean, some of the views from the offices are just wonderful.
It is brilliant. And,
Yeah,
it changes. It changes every minute. It is an active waterway where the energy industry is transacting its business on a day-to-day basis. We have the world coming to us. We have small leisure craft, paddleboarders. We have fishermen undertaking their day-to-day activity. There's a real richness on that waterway. You can't help but be, romanticised by and feel quite emotional about. It's a really vibrant place, and I think just in little microcosms of that, down at the marina itself. I think not in my time, but during COVID, there was a real impact on the level of activity down there. But I've been fortunate enough to live in the new T Hotel for about the last month, as I find something more permanent somewhere in the county. And it's just fantastic. The vibrancy, the activity. We had the Fire Festival a few weeks ago. We had the Beer Festival last weekend. Much more planned during the course of the summer as things come back to life. And every day we see, the fishermen in and out, boat users in and out, and then further up the waterway, people very active in terms of making the most of this fantastic natural resource that we have on our doorstep.
As you said, it's very multifaceted. There's so much that goes on within the port. And as you touched on there, Tia Milford's been your home. We were at the opening of that. We're at the fireworks every year. It is just so vibrant. There's always a lot going on down that marina, and the appetite is there for the families, for locals, for tourism, and it's great to see how that has evolved over the last decade. It's nothing short of phenomenal, really. It's been wonderful to see it grow.
Yeah, I mean, confirmation bias from the new guy in town, right? I would like to think that's the case. Certainly, that's my feeling.
Yeah.
I did Milford Haven infrequently over the last 32 years. I mean, typically we'd be going to Pirate Pete's, the site of the Phoenix Bowl. I think Pirate Pete's is still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
And that would be the place we would go on a wet day to make sure our kids had somewhere to go. Whereas now there is far more on offer, and we've got great plans for the future in terms of what is available there. There's galleries, there's museums. There is much more on offer for people to go and enjoy the accessibility to the marina, to see what's going on the waterway, bags of free parking, and as you say, some great events that are starting to come back and bring people in. So a really exciting place to go to. And you can just have a nice stroll of a night as well, if that's all that you fancy.
Yeah, some lovely eateries. I was only there on Friday, actually, down at Coco's having a bite to eat. It was.
I'm going there tonight.
Lovely.
Really
you will. The food is fantastic. Yeah, it really, really is. And keep up the great work, James Phil and the family down at Coco's. I mean, Tia Milford, probably a prime example of where things are potentially going for the marina, the development. I mean, it must be also quite reassuring coming to post and knowing the likes of Celtic Collections, the people behind Celtic Manor, want to invest their time, energy, and efforts into Milford Haven.
Yeah, I think what that shows is a great piece of collaboration between the vision of the port and the expertise of the Celtic Collection. The T Hotel and the T Hotel brand, the Celtic Collection, is providing a really high quality hospitality experience. The Dulce restaurant, I'm very familiar with it now. I think provides some fantastic food. The service is great. The accommodation is spot on.
Yeah.
I think collectively we were hoping that we could create something that would be an upper end 3-star experience for people. Last couple of weeks it was announced that it would be provided with a 4-star grading. Occupancy is high. Fantastic. The experience is great. And I think what's really positive from our perspective is we're seeing a beneficial impact around the marina as well and its environs, because, of course, people who are staying anywhere for any more than one night, they might eat in the hotel restaurant for one night, but then what they'll probably do, as I do in a given week, is I will spill around to Martha's or up to the Harbour Master, or across the Cocos as I'm doing tonight. There's some really, really lovely places to go and eat that provide a really complementary magnetic proposition for people to go down to that harbour area.
I've had some of the tasters at the opening of Dulce. It's on my list to do as well. And don't forget as well, you've entered a competition right now on our Facebook page actually to win a 3-course meal before a bottle of wine at Dulce. So do pop along to enter that. What future plans are potentially on the cards at the moment that you can talk to us about today then, Tom? So
where we are right now is first and foremost, we need to remember that what we do as a business, fundamentally, the core of the business, 70 to 75% of what we do is all around the Port Authority activity. The engine room of our business as the Port Authority is what the women and men of the piloting, marine, and the port control team do to move the shipping in and out of the port. So our first priority, our everyday priority, is their safety, the safety of the public, the safety of the shipping, and providing a really high reliability service to all of those really, really important partners that we have on the waterway. Because without that, the whole economic proposition of the waterway starts to fade in terms of its appeal. So that is our day-to-day.
I'm sure that is very reassuring for a lot of people that were maybe here. That we still hear about it on quite a regular basis. Of course, the Sea Empress disaster, it affected a huge amount of people here in Pembrokeshire. So the safety of the waterways, and there's been recent concerns what's going on in Ukraine. Are we going to be a target? So I think that's, incredibly reassuring for a lot of people here in Pembrokeshire.
I think it's important for people to know that, safety is our first priority. Safety is my first priority. Safety of our people, safety of the community, safety of the environment. The Sea Empress is writ large in people's memory regionally and nationally, and certainly within the industry as well. All of the procedures that we undertake, the training that we provide to our highly skilled pilots, coxswains, and port control operators is all as a result of the lessons learned and identified as a result of the Sea Empress disaster. So we have a really comprehensive risk managed service that we provide to ensure that safety. But of course, it's easy for me to say that. What I can tell you is that in terms of a deeply embedded safety culture where bad practice is stopped, where mistakes are identified, where stop work orders can be given by anyone within the port to anyone to stop something unsafe happening. On day one, where I forgot to put on a mask when I walked out into the corridor from my office, the really refreshing thing for me as the new chief executive was that a member of staff told me to go and put a mask on. When I had the very great honour of going out my first weekend with some of the pilot boats and I skipped around on a ladder, again, safety culture, there was no shortage of very direct and very appropriate advice to tell me to descend and ascend the ladder in the method that I had been briefed. So that culture is there, but it also extends to the environment as well. We have a really strong environmental team within the business. We take our custodianship of those aspects of the waterway that we're responsible for really, really seriously. And with that, we're also very, very minded, and it's part of our future strategy in terms of making sure that users can interface with that fantastic environment in a safe, environmentally friendly way, where they can enjoy the experience of being on the waterway.
I'm sure very reassuring for a lot of people, especially some in health and safety watching and tuning in right now. So safety is paramount, making sure that the daily functions of the waterway and the port are doing their utmost. The other sort of 20% of the business, what will you be sort of concentrating on? What else will be happening?
Yeah, so that's where we need to really grow that. So renewables, government ambitions
because
for
it's the big the net zero, isn't it? That's where
yeah.
we
So
need to get to.
so net zero being the target,
Yeah.
renewables being the route to that target. In terms of Milford Haven, clearly the continued decarbonisation of the activity that happens around the haven, but also the opportunity for us, the significant opportunity, and it really centres on the port services aspect down in Pembroke Dock, is going to be flow, so floating offshore wind within the Celtic Sea, and the role that we play as a waterway in terms of supporting the existing partners and enterprises that sit on the waterway, but also how we support a new generation of users in terms of the floating wind generators, and also the developers who will need facilities at shoreside with direct access to deep water. And of course, that is one of the things that Milford Haven has, direct access to deep water, and we can enhance that, develop the quayside quality, the quantity of the direct access to that deep water, and that's something that we're going to be working with Welsh Government, National Government, UK Government, sorry, to really develop as a concept, and that will really be our priority focus in terms of developing that service offering, so that we, as a waterway, remain highly relevant to this significant transformation in terms of how the UK gets its energy, and how we service that demand.
And all you need to do is just be on the waterway to just really understand how much energy is being produced on that waterway. I mean, it's phenomenal. You look out and you have Valero, you have the Pembroke Power Station, the LNG, and if then you see the ferry and the LNG tankers, you can see some of the oil tankers coming in, and it gives you a bit of a perspective to actually what's going on right here on our doorstep.
Yeah, so there's significant elements, aren't there? There is the decarbonisation of the activities themselves, so that will be a combination of blue and green hydrogen, and looking to see how the activities of those major energy users on the waterway can decarbonise, but also how we then use wind power fundamentally to generate the power needs of the UK. 50 gigawatt ambition by 2030. That number seems to change from time to time, but whatever that number is, whether it's 30 or it's 50, it is a significant level of investment and a very, very rapid upward trajectory in terms of the fielding of the very, very large turbines into the Celtic Sea that are going to be required. And I think the activity on the waterway will change, the energy strategy on the waterway will change, the look and feel of the waterway will change. We are very hopeful that we'll be providing very, very high quality key to deep water facilities, such that very, very large turbine integration activity will be happening on the waterway, and to give some level of scale to the size of these turbines, without blades fitted, they will struggle to get under the Cleddau Bridge. They are very, very large indeed. So this is, in terms of the look, the feel, the activity of the waterway, significant change going to happen. It's really important that we, as a collective, make sure that the waterway voice is heard, and that we are speaking with one coherent voice to decision makers, such that we can attract the investment and get the decisions and permissions that we need to succeed.
And lastly, just down at the Marina, we've seen a huge amount of development there, as we touched on Celtic Collections, which is wonderful eateries. Is there any more development planned or proposed down there?
So there is planning already in place for a range of leisure, hospitality, and residential. Clearly, it's one thing to get the planning; it's another thing to do to actually execute. I think the T Hotel has given us real confidence in our approach, which is to say that we have the place. We then need to build the things, and by partnering with people who are at the top of their game in delivering certain services, in this case it's the Celtic Collection and the hotel, we can really provide attractive, compelling propositions. What we need to start doing, though, is making the Marina, and I'm stealing a great phrase from a colleague of mine who said we need to be offering more than just a great place to eat. And she's absolutely right. We need to be offering an enhanced museum experience, great galleries, great culture, educational experience. Let's not forget that the genesis of that marina is the fishing activity. We need to look to keep that at the centre of what it is we're looking to do. We need the engineering services that support the recreational and the business activity on the water as well, because we will have tugs and pilot boats and other users that need to have those services available to them. But also, what is clear from the high level of demand in terms of our significant waiting list for berths at the marina and the rate at which residential properties are snapped up around the marina, that there is real demand for more leisure users, for more people to come and be a resident there. And so we're really, really looking forward over the next year or so in developing those investment strategies with the right partners to deliver. It's a phrase I've used before, but I can't think of anything better, a really magnetic proposition. And then, of course, we want to be doing much more around what it is that we're doing down at Pembroke Dock, because at the moment, Pembroke Dock is very much about the ferry and it's about port services. We're really looking forward to opening up a conversation with decision makers on the south side of the waterway about how we can support that. And then roped into all of this as a trust port is our ability, our mandate, our duty to make sure that we are, for future generations, making sure that there are good jobs, resilient jobs, and that we are playing our part in upskilling and keeping the workforce and the place relevant for future generations, because we are a workforce that is of the waterway, who have a long-term view in the waterway. Our loved ones live and work in the waterway, and we want that to continue a long way into the future, and that that's deep within the culture of the business.
Tom, thank you ever so much for joining us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on and hearing about the exciting plans, the relevance of what this has to a lot of Pembrokeshire people, our listeners, our followers. It sounds like there's some very ambitious, exciting plans going on across the waterway, with the future that we have, with, of course, increasing energy prices, trying to get a greener world. We've had conservationists on the show this morning talking about how we must get out and soak up the beautiful offerings Pembrokeshire has, because it's got so many beneficials to your mental health. And I think we need to embrace that. There's a very exciting future ahead for the port by the sounds of things, and just sharing that with us today, it really has been so fascinating. So thank you ever so much for your time, and we look forward to keeping our listeners and followers updated with the developments that are going on with the port.
Well, hopefully this is the first of many conversations, Toby. Thank you for having me today.
No, absolute pleasure. Tom Sawyer, the new Chief Executive of the Port of Milford Haven, with us right here on Pure West Radio. And if you did miss any of it, don't forget it is available on the socials at Pure West Radio, and you'll be able to listen back to it in full just after 1 o'clock. So in just a few moments' time, as that'll be available on the catch up at purewestradio.com. Thanks once again to Tom Sawyer, the new Chief Exec of the Port of Milford Haven, for being with us today.